In this video, I'm going to be going over everything that's going to be coming to Ark Survival Ascended in the future. I'm going to be going over all the stuff they announced in the Extra Life event from like a week ago, and all the other stuff that we know that's going to be coming as well. So it's all going to be in this video. I'm first going to be starting out with all of the stuff we know about the Bob's Tall Tale DLC, and specifically the Wasteland War pack, I guess. So if you already own the DLC, then you will get this one as well, as it comes with the Scorched Earth, Aberration, and Extinction ones. And of course, all the information we got was about the Extinction one. So first off, we have a new creature that's going to be coming. It's going to be exclusive to Extinction, and you'll only be able to tame it if you have the Bob's Tall Tale DLC, similar to the Oasisaur and the Cosmo, and it is the Doggo. But the interesting thing about this one is it's a new type of creature called a companion creature, which is going to be different from anything else we've seen in the game. And how it works is basically, you kind of works like a normal creature until you put it in companion mode, and it will basically follow you around no matter what, and will be able to get to you from anywhere. And it's kind of like dogs in Minecraft, how no matter where you go, they just follow you or like teleport to you if they can't get to you normally. These things will do the same thing, except for they won't teleport. They'll like bury themselves in the ground and then show up to you, which it's basically just teleporting with a burying animation instead. So they'll follow you around, as well as if you get on a creature, they'll just ride the creature with you, so you won't have to worry about carrying them around or anything. If you have them on companion mode, they'll just get on the flyer you're with and go with you around. Another important thing to note about this creature is it can't die, at least when it's in companion mode. If it does take enough damage to where it loses all its health, it will just bury itself in the ground, and then it will start healing, and then it'll eventually heal back up to full health, and then it will come back out again. So this thing is going to be pretty good, obviously, if it can't die. And I assume all the other creatures they add in the future that have a companion mode would probably do the same thing. I do hope they add some more, because this does sound pretty cool. They could definitely do a lot of stuff with this companion mode thing. Also, another few things this thing can do, it can sniff out treasure. So I'm guessing like the treasure chests from like Scorched Earth. And they're on other maps too, but you should be able to sniff those out with this thing. It can also scare creatures away, kind of like the Sonoma crops can do that. It'll be able to scare small-sized creatures away, so that'll be useful if you're being attacked. And it's got some other abilities as well. It does like it can sit and do tricks and stuff. Also, when you put this thing in companion mode, you're gonna get a dog whistle, which you can use to control it even more. So that's another thing. And it's got like a armor piece you can put on there to give it some extra armor as well. Another important thing to note is this creature, I guess every creature that's going to be companion mode, also levels with the character instead of just leveling up by itself. So I'm guessing when your character gets XP, that it will level up with you, something along the lines of that. And the Armored Doggo will also be able to hold artifacts similar to the Otter, so that's going to be another great use for this thing. This thing has a ton of uses, and we haven't even gotten to some of the main functions of this thing yet. The Armored Doggo's main abilities is going to have a bunch of different attachments, or I guess like saddle attachment things. You can't actually ride this creature, by the way. It's not big enough for that, but you will have these like attachments you can put on there, and there's 12 in total. This is the first 6. So the first one is the bag, which basically just allows you to have extra items. If I'm guessing, it'll probably just give a weight reduction on items, but it could also give it more slots. Maybe it will have a certain amount of slots. I don't know. We'll have to see. And then there's the medkit one. As you can see next to it, it basically just heals everything around you, so it's gonna give you some extra health. And I think if you get like insanely low on health, it'll give you like an extra buff on healing as well, but I'm not entirely sure on the details on that one. And then there's the spike armor at the bottom left. It's basically just gonna give it like thorns damage or recoil damage, so when something hits it, and I think if something hits you too, it will also deal damage back to it as well. Then there's extra armor, which is pretty self-explanatory. Just makes it harder to hit and harder to take out. Of course, you can't kill it, but that'd be harder to just get it to where it buries itself. Then there's the meat sack, which honestly might be pretty useful. It basically just draws aggro away from creatures that are attacking you. So if you got something, like, I imagine it won't be able to do like the biggest stuff, but if it has like other creatures attacking you, say like a Carno or something maybe is attacking you, you can whistle this thing to go run away from you, and the Carno will follow it since it has the meat sack on it. So you'll be able to save yourself basically with this Armored Doggo. Then there's the speed buff, which also gives the dog a speed buff, but it also gives you a speed buff as well when you activate it. And we're not sure on how fast it's going to make you, but I imagine they have to make you pretty fast to make it useful compared to some of the other attachments they have for these dogs. But that is the first 6, and then there is 6 more right here. Starting off with the food basket. This one basically makes it to where it just feeds you automatically and gives you drinks as well, so you don't have to feed yourself or give yourself any drinks. That one definitely sounds pretty powerful. All of these sound kind of overpowered in my opinion, but you know, whatever, I guess. Honestly, I feel like if they were going to add companion creatures, maybe they should have like gave some of these abilities to other companion creatures instead of giving them all to the Doggo with attachments, but I don't know, maybe they won't be adding other companions and this is the only one you'll need. I don't know. Just my thought though. Then there's the chibi basket. That one's also pretty self-explanatory. You just put chibis in it. And also the bags. I noticed someone mentioned this on Twitter, but they look like the little baby Yoda holder. They look exactly like that, and you can put your chibis in there, so I guess that one's pretty fun. Then there's the spyglass one. Spyglass one is pretty self-explanatory too, except for it's going to be better than a regular spyglass. It'll basically just give you stat readouts of creatures. It's not going to be as powerful as the tech binoculars. It'll be basically like in between these spyglass and the tech binoculars, so it's going to be better than a spyglass, but not as good as the tech binoculars, basically. And then there's the rolled up sleeping bag. This one's pretty self-explanatory, but it basically allows you to spawn in at the dog, which seems like it's going to be pretty powerful as well. Honestly, I might have mine set to that one, but we'll have to see. So basically, you won't have to worry about dying. Well, I guess you will, because if you respawn there, then the creature that killed you is still going to be there, but it'll be nice either way. You can respawn where you died at. Next is the ammo box, which basically just refills your ammo if you have ammo inside the ammo box. So you can have tons in there, not to worry about the ammo weighing you down if you need a ton of bullets. I imagine that would probably be more useful in PvP, but could still be good in PvE. And then there's the oxygen tank, which will basically make it to where it can breathe underwater as well. So you'll be able to bring this thing underwater with you. The next thing they're adding in the Bob's Tall Tales DLC is the cars, and these ones look like they got a ton of stuff you can do with them, and they sound like they're going to be a lot better than the Tech ATV. I imagine they'll probably make the driving and stuff a lot better than that one was, but we're finally actually getting some real cars in the game. And these ones have a ton of different stuff. So there's 3 different types. There's the monster truck, there's the buggy, and then there's the racer. But the interesting part about these is they are modular. So there's 3 different parts: the front, the back, and then the middle, and then also the suspension is different. And you can mix and match all the different parts from each one, and it won't change, except for the suspension, which is the tires and stuff. That will change how it drives. So like if you have the monster truck tires, I imagine it's going to be a lot better at off-roading, but it goes slower. The buggy is kind of in the middle there, and then the racer is not going to be very good at off-roading, but it was going to be going insanely fast. Or I guess not insanely fast, but it's going to go a lot faster. All of the cars also have a bed, which is a 1x1 building space, so you can build on there. And I guess obviously 1x1 isn't a ton of room, but you could definitely be able to build some stuff on there. Maybe you can put a bed on there so you can respawn, or have like a smithy or something so you can craft some stuff up. Also important to note is there's a unique resource you have to use to fuel these. You can't just use gasoline. It's probably going to be something similar to gasoline, because I don't know what else a car would run on, but you're not going to use gasoline. It's going to be something else, because they want it to be a bit harder than just making gasoline and having just a ton of gasoline you can use for this thing. So you're going to get something else to fuel it. But after that, we have the like garage for the cars as well, which is going to allow you to do a bunch of different stuff. First off, you can add attachments to your cars as well. So there's the front attachments, and then there's the rear attachments, and then there's also bed attachments, which we'll get to after this. But there's going to be 6 front attachments and 6 rear attachments. You can see 2 of them here, but they've pretty much said what all of them are going to be. So the first one you can see on the left for the front attachments is the buzzsaw. It basically just does damage when stuff is touching it, and you'll be able to kill stuff that way. Then there's the spiked grill. It's basically going to do recoil or thorns damage to things that attack you, so it'll deal damage back when they damage you, which is going to be pretty cool. Also, there's the there's going to be one that gives you explosive damage reduction, so that's going to be useful, I guess, more for PvP, because I don't know when PvE would be throwing explosives at you, but so cool. Then there's going to be one that's just going to be armor for like melee damage and stuff. Then there's going to be another one, I think it's called Spring Bumper, which basically makes it to where you take less collision damage, because of course if you do run into stuff, it's going to damage your car. So that's just gonna reduce the damage of that. So it's probably gonna be useful for people that aren't that great at driving. And then there's the cow catcher, which is basically just gonna push stuff out of the way. Probably not big stuff, but you'll be able to throw dinos out of your way if you're driving. So that one will also be pretty fun. Also, something I forgot to mention is the cars degrade over time, like their health, so you need to repair them a lot. Even if you're not doing like anything, or you're not like damaging it, it's still going to lose its health over time. We're getting into the rear attachments. First off, we have the hook, which you'll be able to basically drag stuff with from the back, and it will damage whatever it hooks it, but you can move like unconscious creatures and stuff, but it's going to damage them and kind of mess up their taming effectiveness. But that's still going to be useful. Maybe if something gets stuck in the water, then you can pull it out. Then there's the afterburner, which I'm pretty sure just gives you a boost, which will be pretty fun to mess around with. There's also the jump jets, which I think just let you jump with this thing. I'm not entirely sure. Then there's the smoke screen, which basically like drops some smoke bombs out. Also, something I need to mention as well, the front attachments are like passive abilities, so they just work over time, and the back attachments actually like are a ability you have to activate. So, which is important to note for all these. But also, like I was saying, the smoke screen, which drops like smoke bombs, it's actually gonna make it to where when it hits dinosaurs, like they won't be able to see you either. So if something's chasing you, even in PvE, and you drop a smoke bomb on it, then they should get confused and maybe will stop chasing you. So that actually could be pretty useful. And then there's also the sludge dropper, which just drops some sludge. I imagine maybe it'll make it to where they get stuck in it or something, whatever's chasing you. And then there's the mine dropper, which drops a bunch of mines, and then whenever they land on it, they or touch it, they explode. So that one also could be pretty fun to mess around with. Other things to mention about the garage as well is if your car is somewhere else, you can automatically teleport your car to the garage wherever it is on the map. So if you get it lost or anything, or you just can't figure out a way to get it back to your base, you'll be able to just teleport it straight to your base once you get back. And also the top platform, there's a platform on the top, as you can see, there's completely flat, and you can build on it. So when I start playing on Extinction, I'm probably gonna have my base on top of one of these things, because I think that'd be pretty cool. Have like a giant tower or something base on there. I think that'd be pretty sick. And then we have the bed attachments, which will basically just be a bunch of different turrets you can use. So there's the flame turret, which shoots fire, of course. The shotgun, which of course I don't feel like I don't really need to explain these ones. There's the seeker missiles, which is just gonna like automatically shoot missiles that like basically hit things and see towards them. Makes sense. Then there's the minigun, and then there's the cannon. The cannon is just gonna shoot slow rounds that deal a ton of damage. But these are gonna be pretty cool and definitely fun to pick and choose, and it sounds like the customability on these cars is gonna be really cool. Also, one thing to mention as well is there's gonna be like custom cosmetics for the cars as well that we haven't really seen anything about yet, but they did say that it was gonna be there. Next up are the structure skins for the Extinction DLC, and these look really cool. I'm definitely going to say these are my favorite out of all the Bob's Tall Tales. I liked the Frontier ones. The Steampunk structure skins, I wasn't really a huge fan of. It's just not really my style. I'm not saying they're bad. They're just not my style, but these ones I think are really going to be really sick, and I'm going to be using these ones a lot. They definitely fit the theme of Extinction quite a bit, and I'm gonna have a bunch of fun with this one. Like a lot of people will say, it's kind of like Mad Max themed, but it's like apocalypse looking. I don't know, it's really sick looking. So these are like the walls. There's also the lamps. All of the Bob's Tall Tales have had their own custom like light sources. So there's the lamps there that you can see, and then there's the railings, which look really cool as well. And then there's also right here the Behemoth Gate, which looks dope as well, with the giant T-Rex skulls at the top. I'm guessing it'd be a T-Rex, maybe it's something else, I don't know. Then there's the pillars and the door. Also, something to mention with the Extinction update, they're going to be adding 3 new gates. So there, of course, there's the Behemoth Gate and then the regular dinosaur gate, but they're going to be adding a 3x3 gate, a 2x2 gate, and a 5x5 gate. And this is mainly because the cars can't fit through the regular gates, so they're going to be adding a lot more. But that means that the gates are also, they're going to be adding new gates that have a wood, stone, and metal, and probably tech variant too. So there's going to be tons of new structures for that anyway. It's going to be nice to have some more functions, especially because the small dinosaur gate, you can't really fit a lot of wide creatures through, so we'll be able to have a 3x3 one, which I imagine will help a lot with actually getting creatures through. But after that, we also have the skins for the players as well, and these ones are really cool as well. My favorite's probably going to be the Warlord, set, and then of course there's the warrior set too. I think that one's pretty cool, but of course you can mix and match these. I do like the fact that on the right it has like the skulls on the shoulder plates. I think that's really sick, so I might end up using that one. And there's also the helmets too, as you can see right here. There's a bunch of different helmets. All of them are pretty cool. Like I said, most of these Bob's Telltale DLC have done that. They've had like the 2 armor sets, and then they've had like 4 or 5 different helmets. And my favorite is probably going to be the one on the right over there. It's really cool looking. Also, the second one, the one that kind of looks like a dinosaur helmet made out of metal, is pretty cool. The Mohawk one is kind of cool too, though. So I don't know. As I said, I'm definitely probably going to end up going with the one on the right, though. And the next thing is a structure for the Bob's Tall Tales DLC, which is the Tribe Tower. And this one is mainly for PvP, and it's basically, the point of it is to try to deter players from building in caves, because most people in PvP these days, they just build in caves. I don't really play PvP that much, but I do know that most people build in caves, and I've heard that one of the reasons is because of the introduction of mechs and Extinction, but of course people still do it now anyway, even though mechs aren't in the game right now. But I don't really know. I'm not the PvP guy, it's just what I've heard. Anyway, the Tribe Tower, basically how it's going to do that is, first off, it needs air access to actually work, or sky access. So if you build it in a cave, first of all, it's probably not going to fit, but also it needs sky access. And this thing is huge as well. I believe it is 8 like foundations tall, so it's almost as tall as a Behemoth Gate. Actually might be the same size as a Behemoth Gate, and might be like 8 blocks wide too. So it's a massive structure, absolutely huge. And what it does is it basically gives you buffs over time. So it gives you a 1% XP buff every single day. It stacks on up to 20% a day. It's not going up 20% a day, like it maxes out at 20%. And then also for every 30 days this thing is placed up, you will get a 3% element drop percentage buff on bosses. So bosses are going to give you 3% more, and that stacks all the way up to 15%. So that's the only buffs it says right here. I believe it's probably going to give you more buffs, but those are the ones that they said, I believe, and I don't really know of anyone else's that they did. Also, this thing can't be repaired at all, so if you do damage it, you can't fix it at all. So eventually, if someone breaks it, then you're gonna have to place another one again and wait for all those buffs to come up. So it's pretty important that you protect this thing, but of course you can only place it outside, so it's gonna basically make you want to build your base around it and kind of defend it that way. It also runs on fuel, and the fuel it runs on is apex drops, so things like T-Rex arms, like RG claws, Thyla claws, Therizinus claws, all that kind of stuff is what it's going to run on, which not really anything else that runs on that. You basically just use those for boss tributes, but now you're going to need that for this too. It could make it kind of fun and definitely make a lot of those trophy apex drops that you just have lying around your base more useful for people that have a bunch of those. And you can only have one of these per tribe as well, so you can't place multiple. You can only have one in your entire tribe, and the only way to place another one is if your one breaks. So yeah, so it's a pretty game-changing one. I imagine more useful for PvP, but even in PvE, you're still going to want to place one of these down, as the XP boost and the boss drop boost is going to be pretty useful. The final information we have about the Bob's Tall Tales DLC is mainly from this key art they pictured here. Of course, you can see the dune buggy that they had, and then there's the trike helmet, which of course from none of the pictures we saw, we'd never saw the trike on the front of it there, but there's a few other things that we noticed. First off is that spear right there, which apparently they're going to have some sort of explosive spear on Extinction for the DLC, so that'll be fun to mess around with. And also there is some Volanosaur armor, which is probably just going to be a skin, just kind of like how they had the Rock Drake goggles skin, the steampunk skin. They'll probably just have that for the Volanosaur too. They'll have this armored one, which looks pretty cool, honestly. And also another thing I wanted to mention is the like swords this guy is holding at the right. They're like double bladed, which of course we don't have any like double bladed weapons in the game, but this is probably just a skin. Or maybe it won't be added at all, I don't know. Or maybe it's a new melee weapon, who knows, I guess we'll just have to see. But I thought I'd mention it anyway, because it is on the key art here for the Bob's Tall Tales DLC. But next up, we have the Ragnarok reveals, and first off, there's a free new creature for Ragnarok, which is going to be the giant bison. So this is one that people have been wanting in the community votes forever. It's been in pretty much like every single community vote, even from like Fjordur and Lost Island votes from years ago. There's been tons of these votes, and Bison's been super close in all of them, so they're finally just adding it, and I think it looks really cool. It fits Ragnarok a lot. This is one, I never really voted for it, but at the same time, I did want it to be added to the game. It was just never my number, it was always like my number 2 or 3 choice. Like, I did want it to come to the game, but I'm glad that they're actually adding it, basically. It's really cool looking, really huge, and like I said, in the plains biome in Ragnarok, I think it's going to fit perfectly. Hopefully you can find like herds of them in the plains. That would be really cool to find there. And they do say it's exclusive for Ragnarok, but also some creatures that have been technically voted are free creatures that have been added to these maps haven't really been exclusive. Like, if, for example, the Facilisukis was added to Scorched Earth, but you can also find an aberrant version of it on Aberration, so it's possible that the giant bison could be found in other maps after Ragnarok comes out. I thought I would just mention that, but yeah. And also, Ragnarok has been given a release time frame. They said it's going to come out in March of 2025, but you know, take that with a grain of salt, because we all know Wildcard, and I don't know if it's actually going to come out in March. We'll have to see. Hopefully it does, but yeah, I don't know. I know a lot of people were confused, especially when they announced Extinction would be coming before Ragnarok, and they didn't say anything about Ragnarok. But yeah, we know now it's coming out March. One last thing I wanted to add in here about Ragnarok is the main devs are actually working on Ragnarok, which with the center they had like a different team working on it. So yeah, and that one ended up being like one of the most controversial drops for the for Ark Ascended yet. So maybe that's why they decided that they have the main team working on Ragnarok, because they don't want that to happen again. I don't know, but I guess it's good. The main Ark team is working on Rag, so hopefully that means that it's going to be awesome. Next thing I want to talk about is the new story map coming for Ark Survival Ascended. So there is going to be a new story map. Of course, this was mentioned I believe it was last Extra Life event from last year, but I believe a lot of people forgot about it because I never heard anyone talking about it. I usually would try and mention it in my videos, but of course there is a new story map coming, and they talked about it during this live event too. So they basically confirmed that it is coming, but they didn't really say much about it. The only thing they said was that it's not going to have the Genesis mission system, which me personally, I'm very happy about, and I think most people will be happy about it. I don't think most people are going to be complaining that they are not doing the Genesis mission system, but it's going to be a new story map without that, so I'm very excited to see what it's about. Of course, that's pretty much all we know about it. We don't know a release time frame or anything. We just know that there's a new story map coming for Ark Ascended exclusively, and I'm pretty hyped for it, because of course getting all the remastered maps is cool, but I'm really excited to get a new story map, and with all the creatures and stuff that'll come with. And then we need to talk about Ark 2 as well. To no one's surprise, they didn't really much say anything about Ark 2. We still don't really know when it's coming out at this point, but during the Extra Life event, they did confirm that they are still working on it, so it's not like canceled or anything. Like, Ark 2 is still being worked on, but we have no idea when it's coming out. And there were leaks early this year saying it was going to come out at the end of 2024. I didn't really believe them, and I still don't. So I don't think it's coming out this year at all, or else they probably would have said something about it. So probably not this year, maybe next year. I don't really think so either. Me personally, I really care more about Ark Survival Ascended, because Ark 2 sounds like it's going to be a lot different. I mean, I'm still excited for Ark 2, but I'm willing to wait if that means that the game is going to be polished and made really good. We also have some information on Valguero as well. Not really that much though. All we know is that Nikaitis is working on it, which is the same person who made Fjordur, and of course he also worked on Valguero, so basically confirmed he's come back to help with the remaster, so hopefully that means it can be made even better with his help as well. So just an interesting thing to note there. We don't really know any release date for Val or anything, but I thought I'd mention that. Also, the creature votes are going to be returning. Once again, no date for when the next creature vote is going to be, but they did say that they're going to be coming back soon, so you'll be able to vote for new creatures that'll come to the game, and I'm guessing Val's probably going to be the first map they do a creature vote for, and then maybe after that they'll do Genesis, and then I guess Crystal Isles and Genesis Part 2, and we'll see which creatures end up winning that vote. We also got some news on Part 2 of the animated series. It's going to be coming out during the 10-year anniversary of Ark, which is around June of next year, so 2025. So it's going to be a pretty long wait. I mean, considering that Part 1, the first 6 episodes of Season 1 came out like April of this year, so it's gonna be like over a year for the other half of a season to come out. But yeah, we'll have to wait till then, unless, you know, it gets delayed because, you know, Ark. But yeah, that's the supposed release date. And then after that, going into some of the stuff that we just know is coming to the game, even though it wasn't mentioned during the Extra Life event, of course, because this is a video going everything coming to Ark. There is the Ark Editions creatures coming. I mentioned this like a million times, but if you haven't heard already, they're adding the Ark Editions creatures to the base game. And we already have a bunch of them, so I'll just go over the ones that they're going to be adding that haven't already been added to the game. And the first one, as you've been seeing, is the Cryolophosaurus. This one's getting a full TLC rework, so it'll probably be one of the last ones that comes to the game, as well as the Concavinator, which is also the same story. It's getting a TLC rework, so it's going to look completely different, and it's going to be coming probably one of the last Ark Editions creatures that comes. And I imagine the Cryolophosaurus and Concavinator might come together, because they originally came out together in an update. That's just a guess, though. Don't quote me on that or anything, but I feel like once they do come out, they'll probably come out in the same update. And after that, there's the Helicoprion as well. It's like a giant shark with a saw blade mouth. This thing turns regular items into blueprints. It has a chance to, and it also has a huge chance of destroying that blueprint forever, so it's kind of a gamble on whether you get your stuff back. But other than the blueprint thing, it's not insanely powerful or anything. And then we have the Dinotherium. I believe this one's probably going to be added really soon, if not the next Ark Editions creatures to get added. But this one is basically like a giant elephant. As you see, it's massive, especially compared to some of the other like elephant creatures like the mammoths and stuff. And it has a roar that gives a buff to melee damage, as well as can gather berries and stuff like that. It is a really cool and super unique looking creature. But then after that is the Acro. This is one of the most iconic Ark Editions creatures, and one I've wanted in the game for so long. And of course, this one already got a TLC, so it could honestly be next. This of the Dinotherium, I believe, are probably going to be the two next ones that get added. So this one is going to be really cool as well, that we're going to get it. And then there's the Brachiosaurus. This one is also getting a TLC like rework, so it's not going to be next, probably, because Gru hasn't said anything about even starting working on it. But it's going to be coming out to the game at some point with a brand new model. Probably the same abilities, though. I don't think the abilities are changing, just the like appearance of it. That's pretty much everything that's coming to the game. There's the ASA content roadmap that came out like a year ago. This thing's completely outdated. I don't even know why I have this on the screen. Well, actually, the main reason I do have it is because of the November surprise. Of course, it is November, and they didn't mention it during the live stream. I thought they would, considering, it's supposed to be announced in November, and they would definitely announce it during the Extra Life. So I feel like the announcement of that is probably just delayed. It's supposed to be something big, though. If all the other things on this roadmap are maps, which are huge additions, then maybe that was an announcement for something else. They also announced the new story map during that time, so I don't think the surprise would be a story map, because they'd already announced it when that surprise was also announced. I don't even really know. But the point is, I think the surprise still hasn't even really been revealed yet, so we'll have to wait and see what that is all about. But that's going to be pretty much it for this video. If you guys did enjoy or find it helpful, make sure to leave a like and also subscribe. Also, I know I'm a little late on all the news. I was on vacation during when they announced the Extra live stream. Also on vacation when the Dread Mare and all of the Fear Evolved stuff came out, because I was planning on making a video on Fear Evolved, but I didn't get the chance to. I thought I'd just mention it at the end of this video for anyone that was wondering. But yeah, thanks for watching, and bye.